All right, fellas, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment's YouTube channel covering Bannerlord, and we continue to defend cities and castles for you and provide the recipe for success all across the lands of Calradia. We are anticipating war sales here in a month or two. Pretty excited for that. And these castles may be under duress by the Nords, right? This is Sturgian Castle. I've selected it to be Khazate here, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter too much for the purpose of this demonstration. We're going to have 250 Khazate forces defend against 1,000 Imperials, and like we do with the rest of the series, we will give the AI the shot in this first playthrough. We'll see what we can learn about this castle. Now, really interesting layout. It's like against these cliff walls. It should be a highly defendable location, and it does have beautiful sort of wall segmentation and design here. I like what I'm seeing. Of course, I've defended this before for an Epic Siege series, but we're gonna have to refamiliarize ourselves with this layout. Each one of these castle series, I tend to have a little bit better results, make a few nuanced changes, and we do better with each example. Now, we gave the defenders, or the attackers here, one siege tower and a pair of ladders here, and we'll see if the defenders at least destroy this siege tower over here. They're certainly pounding on it, and they've got infantry. Never mind. Oh, okay, there it goes. So I was going to say the infantry just retreated. That is because that left side is no longer a threat. That is a strategy we will seek to employ as well, to try to destroy at least a siege tower. That'll make this castle much more defendable. Now, you see, because they're putting their troops on the walls against a much larger force, they're already down to half their troops. That spells disaster. This AI, there have only been 2 or 3 examples for this whole series where they've been able to win outnumbered 3-1, and in this example here I made it 4-1. So the Khazate, the defenders here, have even less chance as they get trucked and blown up. It's basically a no chance. And that is that. We won't spend too much more time on that. As is often the case with these, the AI really doesn't have much of a chance. It didn't use these walls. Let's see if we can't significantly better that. All right, switch that. Again, the units on both sides here are tier 3 through 6. I'm not going to show you this every single castle. Some of this will just be too monotonous for you fellas. But let's come up with the plan here, right? We are going to try to destroy that siege tower on the far side over there. I need to move some of these catapults around. We've got to have good line of sight. So we can blow that thing as it approaches. You always want to have catapults right where a siege tower is approaching, because if you miss some of the shots at range, of course, eventually the siege tower will be right in your face and it'll be hard to miss. Over here, we'll have fire catapults to rain down. Actually, let's not put it there. I can put some troops here. I think we'll use that as a shooting range and keep fire catapults right on the main area there. So we're going to have 4 divisions of infantry here, and the reason we're doing that is to jam up these stairways, right? 1, 2, 3. Maybe we can get away with just 3. Let's try 3 divisions. The most obvious key to any kind of a castle like this is jamming up the troops' access down to the courtyard. We, of course, are going to employ archers in the courtyard. I've started using shield wall archers more often. They can be in a shield wall as long as they are not shield archers, right? Because then they will hold their shield up. If they're just regular archers, a shield wall actually works pretty well because the units are right next to each other and they will shoot readily, right? You want it to be a single line shield wall, of course, though, because anybody behind them 2 or 3 lines deep, they can't shoot. There's a guy right in their face. I think we'll keep the fire catapults right over the main gate. Now here, again, we're just going to jam some infantry, and you're projecting kind of where the enemy's going to go. It's kind of like that stupid game online. You see the ads for it all the time where you got to kind of follow where the dragon's going to go, and you're closing doors and stuff like that. I've never played the game, but it's sort of like that, right? We are anticipating where the enemy's going to go and then setting archers in position to gun them down as they head on those ramparts. I've got some cons guards here towards the front in case we need to use them as offensive melee weapons. The first at the gate. You always want to have a division at the gate, right? This is an automatic, and now we're going to give the gate some support, right? The gate is going to have the majority of the troops coming through it. That siege ladder, the siege ladders don't have a huge amount of troops. It's more of a trickle. Anytime you can eliminate one of the siege towers, if there's only one siege tower, you're in great shape. And again, you're getting down to the ground level, you're examining your line of sight. Like, I could put troops on that rooftop, but they have a long way to shoot. It's not going to be very effective. I think it actually makes a lot more sense just to pack this courtyard with as many archers as possible. That way, hopefully, as many of these guys as possible can shoot. And you got to get down here, right? If there's a rock in their way and they can't shoot, you're fucking yourself as a commander, right? It really is your job. It's imperative that you line your troops up in manners that'll be successful, right? If you're going to do this micromanaging, you have to finish the deal, right? These archers here, they might be a little too close. The enemy may attack those guys. That's something to be aware of, right? If you put your archers too close to the main gate, even if you have a square there, the enemy will go right past your square and attack your archers. You've got to be aware of that distancing. I'm going to continue to sort of include my thought process in these videos. That way you don't need to watch every one of these. Some guys, you know, might want specific hints for certain castles, but then they don't want to have to be led through the different castle defenses, right? It's a very complex game. I remember when I first started playing Bannerlord, Siege was incredibly intimidating, and I'd get shot and killed or jump off the walls by accident, and no ability to command my troops. And the more you get experienced with it, the better you get, the less you want guides like mine, right? I'm here to help you guys with difficult situations or in scenarios where I'm doing something that maybe would benefit your play style, but I'm not here to take you the whole way. One of the joys of Bannerlord is figuring stuff out for yourself, right? And I have plenty of commenters from all the enthusiasts who visit the channel who come and say, hey, you should try this, right? And the next thing you know, I add this new tip to my arsenal. So it is a composite of different enthusiasts and, dare I say, experts out there that are helping the channel. But if I can help you guys with the basics, I think you guys will be thrilled to then apply your own problem-solving brain and have success in Bannerlord, right? This game rewards deep thinkers more than most games. It's a very complex game. All right, so this siege tower is getting pounded pretty good. I'd like to take a few shots here that have multi-purpose. I'll intentionally aim slightly to the side there. That way a few of the rocks hit the siege tower, but we also pound these elite troops that are packed right behind it. You can see how tightly all those Legionnaire and Catapult are packed in there. These are intentional misses. They're partial misses. I'm still winging the siege tower. But a lot of those shots were doing major damage to the siege tower and killing a couple dozen troops at the same time. Here, of course, anytime you got a bunch of cowards fleeing to another location, we can fire some more misery right into their packed ranks. We've got our square here, and we're basically going to try to defend the far side with these guys, right? This side is no longer threatened, right? That's one of the benefits, of course, of preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Destroying that siege tower is the best scenario for us here. Now we can use these troops on the other side and really hem in the enemy. I feel like I have a luxurious amount of troops all of a sudden when, you know, we're still outnumbered 4-1. The AI got completely shattered here. We should be successful defending. Can stick this whole other archer division up top here. We've got an infantry division down there in that secondary courtyard, and we have an archer division directly below it, which is one of the best strategies for castle defense. Your archers can't get hit from outside. That's critical, right? Because we're badly outnumbered for archers. And as the infantry, the enemy infantry and archers come down the stairs, they get bottled up by your infantry squares and shot to death by your archers. They're busy. Their attention is diverted by the fact that they have this infantry line in front of you. And you can move your troops around dynamically, right? If all of a sudden the enemy decides, hey, let's attack their archers, you attack with your infantry. It's very much a chess game. Now, usually that doesn't happen. 80% of the time, the AI is just dumb enough to... Where's the fire catapults? Damn, other side. Usually, most of the time, the AI is dumb enough to attack your square. And when they do, of course, it's a disaster for them. One more tip here. We've got this extra infantry division. I'm just having them charge. The reason I'm doing that is to bottle up as many troops as possible in this gatehouse. It's very temporary. Just having that infantry division essentially plug the enemy up here. Nothing too special with this strategy. But if you're forming simply a square, sometimes the enemy won't jam up quite as nicely as this. Now, you do have to be careful your troops don't overcharge the gatehouse. We're destroying the enemy in the gatehouse, and our troops are pounding the enemy as they come through the gate. You can get a situation where the enemy all of a sudden is losing ground, and you start killing your own troops, right? You need to be careful. That's one of the few friendly fire times you can really maul your troops. Now here, just experimenting a little bit, right? We had those guys fall back. The AI is not really chasing that infantry division. I don't actually have a really good target for these fireballs. We could try right at the edge of these troops, but I might... Look out, fellas! And we winged a few of our guys there. See if we can't get a couple of shots down here into the murder hole. Yeah, I mean, the enemy's continuing to pack up there. What's nice is that a significant amount of enemy troops are heading down into that lower courtyard, and they're being destroyed, right? We have 2 archer divisions that have those guys in their sights, and the enemy really is fucked real bad here. These guys are getting jammed up. They're not attacking our archers in the courtyard. You know how I know that? Without being in the courtyard, I can see the death span. If you start to see legionary killed, marksmen and stuff like that, you know you have an archer problem. As long as you're not seeing your archers killed, you know that the AI is not attacking them. Just a little extra tip there. Now these infantrymen are starting to sort of leak towards our archers here, right? So this is where your micromanagement is critical. I'm going to send another infantry division over there, and now I'm going to watch this a little closer. You know, I've already ran and checked that courtyard. Those guys seem fine. These archers are mostly shooting. These guys at the back are not. So we can bring these guys over here towards the center. This second division can add their arrows to the fray here. And this siege is over, right? The fellows who have seen 5 of these, you guys know that this recipe is complete. We might be able to handle 10 to 1 in this scenario. We've got these Consguard shooting on the side. We've got archers galore here. I mean, we basically have too many archers. It's set up even more on this top area here. I don't think we need to do this, but I feel like the gate is so secure we can spare these archers up here. Got a row of Consguards here shooting. I manually placed those guys, right? I just spread them out, and not every guy is shooting, but most of them are. Shit, I got a couple divisions spread around. I'll also show you essentially what you could do if the main gate was being was starting to get overrun. You could just defend these upper ramparts, right? We can get archers spread out on these 2 different platforms here. We've got a square blocking the stairs over there. There's a square blocking the gate. Eventually, the enemy would come over here, and then I'd have squares blocking them from accessing us here. I've actually had a couple epic sieges in this castle where we used similar strategies, and you just block off access to the enemy, and they are just fish in a barrel. And they're total fish in a barrel here. You can see them pouring up those siege ladders, and you can also see 60 archers firing away on top of all those guys down in the courtyard. And see if we can have basically a secondary defense for this castle. Alright, so the enemy forces infantry are coming, right? So what we're going to do is set up as many archers as possible up on this top area, and never mind. We're not even going to have the opportunity. This enemy looks like it's charging, but I think they're all just trying to flee the castle. Right? The enemy is fleeing. I think these guys are literally in the gatehouse down there getting butchered because they're all trying to run out of this castle. Our defense here was so successful that these guys are just suicidal. We can help a few of them die here, and that's all there is, right? Now, this castle, I will list it at some point during this episode, is repeated throughout Sturgeon territory. I think there are 4 or 5 of these in the map of Calradia, and hopefully this defense helps you. Now, I want to include one other castle defense, and we will skip right to that. Alright, so let's do another castle series. This one is Ustokol Castle, but there are at least 2 other Sturgeon castles that I'm aware of that have this same build out, same layout. So this will work for all 3, and again, I will research that a little bit and post that in a little note in the after editing. Same thing as before. This time we'll fight against Valandia, keep a little variety here, and we have a wall breached. Now we can take a closer look here again because the sergeants are going to take us through the first minute here. I'm going to look for some beneficial angles here. Now there's a hole in the wall, but you see how the sand there at the base of the hill kind of mounds that up. I want to talk more about that in this battle, in these 2 battles here. This first example, the enemy simulated blowing open a hole, and they have 1 siege tower. So very difficult circumstances here. We're outnumbered 3 to 1. I gave them a fire catapult or something like that. We're getting bombarded here. Quite a difficult situation. Although being outnumbered 3 to 1 in most castles shouldn't be a problem. Now look at these beautiful defense structures back here. There's great angles to this castle. There's a lot of things to like with this setup here. Ustokol Castle is way to the north. It's virtually never going to be attacked, but if it is, you should be able to defend it. Now that said, the 2 or 3 other castles in Sturgeon territory that have this layout are threatened. I think one of them is Vladiv Castle, which is in between the Kazates and the Sturgeons. So it is worth knowing how to defend this. I also think Ov Castle has this same layout. Now, as predicted, the Sturgeons here are just throwing bodies at the enemy, you know, and their infantry is pretty tough. It's very durable, but I think this is basically just a war of attrition. They have no hope to win. Without archer support, you're just never winning a siege, right? Because you're not obtaining a kill ratio of 4, 5, 6 to 1 with infantry only. We did have a siege where we used the Battanians, and we had something like maybe it was a 4 to 1 or a 5 to 1, but that was lots of javelins, and we still had like 20 archers. So that was just a little fun side series we did with an infantry heavy siege defense. Here, of course, the defenders get routed pretty badly. Let's see if we can't do a lot better than this. Now the hole in the wall makes things very different, right? Okay, it's on the other side of the castle this time. So let's reanalyze here. And again, not all holes are the same, right? That's what he said. We're going to analyze this a little bit from an archer's perspective. The only way they can get to these guys is this stairwell. So we're going to protect these archers. Oh shit, sorry about that. We're going to stick some archers on up there for sure. I don't think they can even be seen from the outside, which is diabolical. So we're definitely putting some archers up there. I will always use 8 divisions in castle defense, and the reason I suggest this even for newer commanders is that once you set these guys, if you just kind of mirror what I'm doing, you could even just play this video while you're playing your game, set the units up exactly like this, pause your game, or pause the video, set your units up, and keep doing this. I suspect you're going to win, right? Because the variables are very similar here. Now, obviously, you could be facing a harder opponent or some other circumstance, but look at that, right? Now we have the 8th Corps and the 7th Corps virtually untouchable by the enemy with nasty positions to shoot, right? Every single one of these archers can shoot both the gate and the hole. So again, it's dual purpose. These archers are bisexual. They're going to be the dual purpose for this battle. Now we're going to stick a square also right here. It kind of plopped down sort of funny on those stairs. Maybe that's suboptimal. We'll look at that once the battle starts. I don't really want them way up the stairs like that. I like my square to be together, right? And strength in numbers. This one's kind of jumbled up as well. Let's try the other side there. We've got 2 different squares we could use, but I don't really think I want the 3rd Corps tucked next to the gate. The 3rd Corps here is probably going to be optional because we're going to try to destroy that siege tower. The AI, again, failed to destroy the siege tower, and what a failed strategy that is. Now, I've been using this more and more because it works. This is a shield wall of archers. As long as they don't have a shield, it just packs them in there tightly, more killing power in a shorter area. Let's get the 6th or the 5th spread out here in a nice big spray. I like to have some archers spread out. That way, you just, no matter where the enemy is, there's somebody shooting them, right? The more guys that are spread out. In fact, let's stick a row here at the far back. These guys are the ultimate protected, right? Nothing can attack these guys. Here, all your forces would be dead before these archers would be attacked. Those guys kind of look over the whole courtyard here. All right, so destroy that siege tower. Let's look at the catapults here, right? Our angles here are pretty good from the center, and I want to have fire catapults to chuck down on the enemy. And since we know we're going to be destroying the siege tower on that left, let's put it over here. That way we can chuck fire catapults on the right. These are all the... Where the fuck are you going? I didn't tell you guys to leave. I don't know what these guys are doing. This is the division I told to go in a square. You don't see that very often. Stand right here, motherfuckers. Why are you going up the stairs? I don't understand what's going on there, but we'll deal with it. It's really strange behavior. It must be some kind of pathfinding issue. That's alright. We'll roll on here. These fucking dipshits out of my way. Alright, so we got to get up to this catapult. I hear him getting bombarded already. That's not good. The enemy has... I don't know if I gave him a fire catapult or a regular catapult or what, but we're going to have to be wary of that while we man this catapult. It'll only take 3 or 4 shots here. In fact, the other catapult is hammering it as well. But we're gonna shoot our fire catapults here, and then we're basically going to watch out below, right, to make sure that we don't end up on our back like, oh shit, like that guy over there. The good news is that there's a rhythm to fire catapults, any catapults for that matter. Boom, man, we destroyed that tower fast. In the next 5 seconds or so, we know there's another round due, right? So you basically just time it out, and if it's heading for you, you fucking get out of dodge, right? You find a nice position to duck to. All right, I can see those fuckers over there. A couple more seconds here, and they'll be firing away. In fact, it's coming right for us. Get down, mates! Oh man, this game really is awesome in a lot of ways. It just destroyed the wall. There's like rocks and logs laying all over the place. It's fucking fantastic. Now it's practical too. They've reduced my cover here. That one's gonna miss. They're trying to destroy our catapult here. They've reduced my cover though, so it's gonna be much harder to attack their mates. This is great, right? There's a lot of parts of Bannerlord that need polishing, and I think part of the reason that people are frustrated sometimes. Oh shit! There's another round coming in. I think people, part of the reason that people get frustrated with Bannerlord is that it's such a great game and it could be even greater. I think that's the main reason why. It would be like having the hottest girlfriend ever who never wiped her ass after she took a shit, so she's just walking around with this super hot girlfriend that stinks. Like, it's just a shame, right? Bannerlord really could be like one of the best games ever made if they put in a bunch of features. Imagine if they added things like pickpocketing and assassinating guys on the streets. Or just a little bit more depth, add some complexity to the AI. I'm gonna get killed here. I'm getting chased down and shit. Anyways, that little short rant aside, I think that is part of the reason that Bannerlord is such a love-hate relationship with the players. Bannerlord's a lot of fun, but man, does it have some serious warts. All right, my plan was to chuck this to the other side there. I'm just kind of looking over our troops here to make sure they're working. Get the square out of the way there. I'm just going to chuck this right into the gate. I don't want to take all the time to run all the way over there, and that's pretty darn effective too. And the main reason I'm doing this, of course, is I have not defended this castle, right? So maybe I did like once or twice in a campaign and just forgot, but I want to make sure that our cake recipe is working. I want to make sure our cake isn't burning in the oven, right? We got to make sure that the recipe that we're showing you fellas work. You guys, I narrate these live and it doesn't always work. Sometimes I have to delete footage, or sometimes if it's close or I learn something interesting, we'll do it again for you fellas. Now this is always, something that you guys want to be doing, right? Unless your character's just weak. You should be up here beheading the enemy, right? The enemy's attracted to the square. You get an occasional guy that comes your way, you just manipulate, move back, and let your archers rake the guy. Things look a little bit messy over there, so there's not enough troops at the gate, right? When that's happening, shove the gate shut. Put the square in front of the gate. That'll limit how many enemy forces are pouring through the gate there. It can be too many, so we'll send this reserve division down there, get some archers closer, and I'm glad that this isn't going super easy, because you guys don't learn anything other than just automatic positioning. One of the things I like about Bannerlord is that micromanaging. A lot of people, they consider that like a bad word, as if having more control is bad. Well, I think most people in their life would appreciate a little bit more control. If you're the kind of person that just wants the AI to do it, you can do that, or you can mirror the setup we have here. But I think you'll enjoy doing a little bit more of the micromanaging. At a minimum, you're going to feel more satisfaction, right? You're going to feel like you made the food instead of just calling Uber Eats, right? You're going to feel like you're the one who actually cooked and made something delicious. If you've never really done that, some of the guys watching this, you might be 25 years old. If you've never made an amazing meal, I tell you what, man, start cooking, right? You will for sure fuck up your first handful of dishes, but eventually you'll learn to cook. And just like Bannerlord, you're going to experience a high level of satisfaction. Now, I think I butchered one of the divisions there. I think I accidentally did sergeants in control, and it looks like it combined a couple of the infantry. So we're just sort of reconfiguring things here just a little bit. We lost an archer division. It's been a little bit messy, and I digress here. I sort of went on a rant about you fellas cooking. Just put some olive oil in a pan and some garlic, and your girlfriend will think you're a stud. I'm not joking, fellas. My wife and I are quite good cooks. We could probably open up a restaurant and slave away for 50 grand a year. But we're not doing that shit anytime soon. Oh shit, okay, this is not according to plan here. We got shot. So what you do is you tell everybody line formation and stop. That prevents them from doing stupid shit, right? More or less everybody's where I want them to be here. So let me focus for a second. Let's get let's see, the seconds over there. I still have plenty of infantry to spread around with. The first, we got to make sure the square up there by the hole is covered pretty well. We're starting to suffer some losses here, but I still like the flow of things. There's a giant fucking strong square of tough infantry there. I see veteran spearmen just holding the line, throwing javelins and smoking Valandians. I think we recovered there nicely. I was talking too much about cooking, and the next thing you know, I'm fucking getting ripped apart. Sometimes I'm a little too casual with the playthrough for these. All right, so I think we're good here, right? We've got the square. It's kind of getting beat on at the gate there, but and away they go, right? The siege is over. And even though they had a hole in the wall here, a very bad situation, outnumbered 3-1, we didn't just win, we throttled them. All right, so let's go ahead and show you this on like the easiest level. All right, so we're all reset here. And I guess what I mean easiest level is no holes in the wall. With only one siege tower and one ram. Based on the castle makeup that we just saw, we're going to try being outnumbered 5-1 here. We're going to try an extreme challenge. So 1,000 enemies all at the same time, 1,000 angry Valandians pouring over the horizon at our castle here. And I don't think they have any fucking chance. Literally no chance. This is just such a nasty castle design. You know, if you need to make a stand as the Sturgians, I'm heartily recommending Ove Castle. I need to double check. Maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but Vladiv Castle also is the same layout. We're going to put squares here at the major stairways. Now I'm putting some on that wall over there because I love that location for archers. And I'll show you where we're going to put them, very similar to the first battle. We're going to put them a little closer here. We're going to, again, attempt to destroy the siege tower on the left and focus all of our attention on the right here. I just think this right is super strong with the archer locations. The gate, there's a lot of downward angles for the archers to shoot. We are really in a good position here against the enemy. Now with the square on the other side, right, you want to at least have some firepower on the opposite side. The guys that are on the opposite side of your square, in other words, at the gate, if your infantry's to the right of it, you need archers to the left of it, right? Archers to the left of it, infantry to the right. Here we am, stuck in the middle with you fellas. All right, so that archer up on the high wall there is going to have a great angle on the gate and the ladder, or the siege tower. Excuse me, not the siege tower. Let's put the fireballs again close to this side. That way we can launch fireballs and destroy that siege tower, and then hopefully toss a half dozen of those down. Unlike the last attempt, the enemy doesn't have any counter siege, right? That's so much harder when they're blowing up your walls and actively shelling your troops. Here, we've got full cover and a fire catapult. This should, you know, just be cake. Now, I'm tempted just to let these guys, I think we will, in fact. I think what we'll do here is, just to, I guess, to show how easy this castle is to defend, let's just kill some troops here and let's leave them, both siege towers. Basically, another worst case scenario, but easier than a hole and no counter siege. I bet we can do this with 200 troops. And get one or two more shots off here. We can throw a few by hand. But all the ladders are covered, right? On that far side, we have a small infantry block, and I'll show that a little closer, protecting the archers. I don't think the enemy has any chance here in this battle. Right? One of the big keys, of course, is that all of our units are protected. Not a single unit is being shot right now, including the guy on the siege weapon here. If the walls are correct and you have a good location, you know, for your siege weapon, most of the time you shouldn't be shootable unless you stand there like a dipshit in front of the window. I find the biggest key with if you're lobbing these little fire pots is to keep moving. You can see the arrows flying by. Don't stand in the same spot. The AI is very good at shooting still targets and awful at shooting targets that are moving. Right, so keep bobbing and weaving. I better get down here before I get chased down by angry Valandians. Although, okay, Yeah, we'll just drop down here. I was going to say, although we could throw a few rocks, let's just go ahead and let the archers work here. So the gate has a square, and I might have to resize that square, but there's the infantry up there I told you about. That's the 2nd Division, preventing them from getting to our archers. Down there, there's a square. Here's a square. Everywhere, there's a square. Can chop a couple heads off. Let's get these archers just a little closer. I talk about that a lot, and I want to talk about it just a few more seconds here. You want to have your archers about 50 to 60 feet away at closest. In other words, 20 meters for you European fellas. Anything closer than that, and the enemy AI coming through the door will aggro your archers. So you can't put the archers 10 feet away and be smoking the enemy. 50, 60 feet away, though, it's astonishing how the enemy just ignores them. Now, if they do charge them, and sometimes they do, there's a little random element to the AI. What I do is I just block the gate like this. Just put a bunch of your infantrymen into a block at the gate, and then have another division charge in the courtyard. And what you're doing, of course, is you're cleaning up the flood. You've got a bunch of Vlandians flooded into your courtyard. Before you clean up the water, you want to make sure that the gate, or in this case, the leak is plugged. Right over here, nothing's getting through that. Right. In fact, most of them are getting shot as soon as they get off the siege tower. Those archers, and those are elite archers, and the 7th Division up there are point blank, firing into the enemy ranks. They've given up on the gate, is what it looks like. Eventually, they'll bring up sharpshooters, right? And what we'll do for that, of course, is you guys have seen me do this. We'll move our archers over, make them come through the door. In fact, they're probably, here they come. They're starting to shoot our guys. What do? Just move your guys over 10 feet. That way they have no targets. They're shooting this dipshit here. Move over there, fellas. And now they have to come through the door and expose themselves to archer protection or an axe. I came up and cut that guy's head off. You fucker trying to avenge your friend, huh? Kill this guy for me. Die, you bastard. He just gets cut down. The fucking sound effects are great. On your fucking bike, Vlandians. And I think this is it, right? There's still sergeant, or there's still crossbow coming up to both sides, but they have no chance. And indeed, here's your recipe for this castle. And what's beautiful, like I said, is there's at least 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Maybe I didn't look at all of them. There's like 3, 4, or 5 Sturgeon castles with this layout. I mean, some guys consider this an exploit. It kind of is what it is, right? And a human opponent would not be able to overcome what we just did there, and neither can the AI. And I don't know, what is that, like a 58-to-1 kill ratio? That is dominance right there. Outnumbered 5-to-1, and we have whatever the ratio that is, a 50-to-1 ratio. All right, let's see here. I've got more castle and city defenses on my mind. Of course, if you want to see more, if you want to have more castle and defense city cheat codes, you want to subscribe, you want to hit notify when new episodes come out. I appreciate you fellas. If you have any comments or requests, put it in the comments section. Hit that like button on the way out. And with all that said, I will see you friends next time.